Crystal, you don't have to dance with us, but Bill and I like to dance to the song. So this is the new theme song. If anyone doesn't know, just a few more seconds of this, and I'll figure out how to make it stop.
It gets
All
us in the
right.
mood.
All right. All right. Welcome, adventurers. It is.
Are we still
Wednesday,
adventurers?
8 p.m. on the Eastern Daylight Time. Although I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so it's 7 p.m. for me. I know that the rest of the East Coast isn't on it, but I'm protesting. So
Wait, it's not 7 p.m. for you.
yeah, it is with for me personally. Yes, it's
Oh, I
7
see.
p.m. for me in my brain. So everything is an hour earlier.
I see.
You know, I have to be at work at 7 instead of 8. So until the time changes back and we get back to regular time. Anyways, how are you, Bill?
I am doing very well.
All right, Bill Strand, the headmaster of the Community Academy, is here. Let's see, we do have our chat on there. So, and today we welcome Crystal from Suggie Bear Central. We'll get to talking with her a little bit more about sugar gliders. She's trying to talk me into getting my daughter a couple sugar gliders. And, you know, like every time we get on the show, seem to get my daughter something new. So I don't know what's happening because my wife has to take care of my daughter's pets. And I guess that's a good trade. But she's out walking the dog, so she can't hear me now. She'll probably watch us on replay, and I'll be in trouble. But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm working on being adopted by Sean so he can get me a sugar glider.
All right, adopted by me. I don't know. I think you're older. I think there's an issue with that. You know, I don't know what the rules are on adoption.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. But you should be able to adopt someone older than you.
Well, yeah, of course.
I mean,
I think that they call that something else with people trying to adopt people that are older than them. I don't know. We'll leave that to the wind. All right. So tonight, Bill, any announcements?
No specific announcements, although next week I may have an announcement worthy of this auspicious audience.
All right. Well, excellent. All right. Steph Payne is here. She fixed her clock. She fixed her days since I messed them up. And she's here. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate you being here. All right. What up for me? Disclaimer, I didn't have to bribe this particular Crystal. Hey, Two Turtle Tom is here as well. I actually bribed our last guest by buying a hedgehog, and now Crystal before the show told me I need to buy sugar gliders for my daughter. So she came on without me purchasing. So that's a good sign. But you know what'll happen? In the end, I'll relent and do this the thing of increasing my pile of pets. But
yeah, this is just part of the sales funnel.
Yeah,
Crystal's playing the long game.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Other than that, in 3 weeks is the big launch date for the Reptile Show Reporter. I know it's already out there. We're already online, and everyone can watch us and see our episodes. But the big relaunch, I don't know what you call it, Bill. What is it called when I launch again and do
well, it's like you really haven't launched the Reptile Show Reporter. It's just kind of eased into existence, and people are saying, well, when did this happen? Well, it just happened. So this is really going to be your grand opening.
All right. So there's my rocket sitting, my shuttle sitting on the launching pad. The fire is going out of it. There's just not enough thrust to take off. All right, I got it. I got a model. I got something in my head.
Yeah. Usually when people want to start a show, they get it all together and then they launch it. You said, all right, everybody, we're having a show. And you were just kind of like, let's build the plane while we're flying it.
Hey, I like that. I don't know if the plane now, maybe the boat. I don't know. The plane. Okay. The planes really are very particular in what they need to keep flying. And I mean, we're not the penguins of Madagascar. It's not like we can fly and have
But it's like one of those old biplanes with people walking out on the wings. That's work.
All right, yeah. I think a boat's probably boat sink, but maybe it's just like a road trip or something like that. We're in the car, we're building it on, we're adding different layers. You know, it's a convertible now. Maybe it'll be a hard top when the things come on. All right. Anyways, enough for that stuff. On with the show. Crystal.
Is anybody as amused by me as I am?
No. Oh man, Bill, when Bill does his own show and says that kind of stuff, there's a lot of yeses, but I'm going to be the voice of reason.
But then there's Sean who comes out and says, don't give that to him.
Right, exactly. All right, Crystal, why don't you tell us about yourself? You were here before. What are you doing here today?
I'm here with, I had the fortunate event to meet Sean at the actual Reptile show that we vended at. So that was a nice experience. But I brought Carmela back, who I had last time. I also had her at the Reptile show that we did.
Great.
So our little mascot.
Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness.
So someone's saying, Facebook Giger's so excited I want sugar gliders. Paris Critters in the Valley. Oh, I know who Paris is. She came on with axolotls. So she wants sugar gliders. We should have hooked you guys up. You were both at Northeast Ohio Reptile Show.
Well, look at that.
So she was on the other, you were on the end cap kind of thing, and she was just over from you on the far side of the thing, but not all the way to the wall. So, hey, welcome, Paris. Good to see you again, or not see you, but see your comment there. So
I need to move to Ohio so I can have a sugar glider.
Hello, the real estate is cheap here, Bill. You're in California. You can't get anything for the amount of money you could get here.
That is true.
Ohio is awesome.
Okay, all right. I'll consider it. I mean, if I could have a sugar glider.
So yeah, for a sugar glider,
I have two, in fact.
And in the middle of February, it'll probably be a bad place to be. But hey, you got to have some negatives.
That's right. Got to have something to drive the property prices down.
Exactly.
California.
All right. So, Crystal, what happened? How was the show? What did you end up? Did it go well for you? Did you like it? Did you enjoy doing it? I know this is your first time vending, right?
It is. It was our very first time vending. I didn't think it went too bad. We did sell a few things, but the interest was unbelievable. I mean, our table was pretty much nonstop from even before the show started from other vendors to about 2 o'clock that afternoon. And the show only went until 3. So we were fairly busy the entire day. I have had a couple people reach out to me since the show interested in purchasing gliders even.
Awesome. All right, hey, Bill, take over for just a second. I got to grab my daughter. She's having some problems here.
All right. Well, we got a comment here from Paris. I was the one who kept coming back to the table to get the sugar gliders through the show. So she knows, and that would absolutely be me. I tell you, I have loved sugar gliders for decades. And unfortunately, being in California, I'm just not able to have them.
Right.
At least not legally. And well, you know what? I don't need to get in trouble. So
there were a couple people from the show who kept coming back to the table to see the sugar gliders throughout it. So
well, you've got a sugar glider sitting right there and is just hanging out with you. Is that a standard interaction that you can have with a sugar glider?
Some. So we talked a little bit last time about their personalities. So some gliders will allow you to do this, some don't. I do have a couple gliders who I've had for years that I cannot handle them like this. But
okay.
Carmela
so
here
is that how much of that can you develop within them as tame them down? And how much is that just imprinted into the personality? You either get a good one or you get a one that's rowdy.
If you purchase a glider from me, I will let you know their kind of personalities, because obviously I have them for 10 or 12 weeks before I allow them to go home. So I get to see a little bit of their personality coming out before they go home. So I kind of let you know, hey, right now I have one that she's real timid. She's real shy. She'll be a year old in September. That's just the way she is. I mean, even I mess with her every day, but she would rather take her treat and run to the back of the cage and eat it. Then I have some that I can just pull them out, toss them a treat, and they'll just hang out. Carmela here, at the show, she actually stayed in my hand from 9 until 3.
Okay.
Which Sean could see. I mean, I carried her around the entire show. she just laid in my hand and slept, and everybody got to come over and pet her. You dropped it.
Oh, yeah.
But I did have 2 other gliders who are available at the show, that people got to see. They were joeys, so they're not very good in that type of environment. It's very loud. Lots of people, they're not used to that. So all they really wanted to do was hide. Carmela used to go into schools with me. We would teach the elementary kids about gliders. So she's used to people touching her and loud noises because, let's face it, kids are noisy.
Yeah. So if we interacted with a sugar glider and carried them around during the day with us, they'll want to sleep. And so we give them a nice little sleeping area next to us, nice and bonding there. But when the night comes and they want to start playing, is it a problem if you're not playing with them? Will they lose their tameness, or will they get bored and be self-destructive like a bird?
I mean, some may lose their tameness a little bit. But so I have a 16-month-old. So for a good 9 or 10 months, I wasn't able to do a whole lot with all of my gliders because I have so many. Babies take a lot out of you. But even when I could, I mean, I pulled her right back out and she was hanging out on my hand. So even just the daily interaction through feeding and treats and things like that, they still maintain, they knew who their person is.
And how is that dynamic affected by whether they have a sugar glider friend or not?
So on the show last time, I know I said that I will not sell a single glider. I will only sell them in pairs because they are a colony animal. Since then, I have had one. She's had kind of a rough year. She's gone through a tail amputation and has lost an eye. But she's thriving by herself. I've tried 4 different colonies with her. So I don't know. They do really well with friends typically. This glider, I don't know what happened. Okay. This is the only one. I mean, I have 20 some gliders right now. She's the only one I've ever put by herself for any length of time. But she's no longer self-mutilating. She's not depressed, and she's thriving. Okay. So typically, I don't recommend them by themselves, but there is the occasion where it is needed for the benefit of the glider. Okay. But they do like their friends.
What's the ideal group size for sugar gliders?
I say at least 2. My biggest cage right now has 5 gliders in it. Okay. That's the cage she's in. She's in with 2 other caramels, which are her type, and then she's in with my older 2 joeys, which I am trying to sell.
Okay. And how much do they bond as a group?
Depends on their personalities. Okay. So my one glider who is single right now, I tried putting her in with the 3 caramels. The caramels are really, really mellow. They pretty much get along with anybody I stick them with. She would chase them and fight with them. But the girls took to no problem. I put the 2 younger girls in one night and just kind of watched them, and they've been fine ever since. Okay. But typically they do okay bonding with other gliders. Again, all just depends on personalities. If you have 2 dominant, either males or females, they may butt heads and you may have to separate.
Okay. How are they with dogs?
Well, I have 2 pit bulls. Okay. And my dogs will stand and watch them. Mm-hmm. They'll come over and sniff my dogs through the cage. Obviously, I don't let interaction outside the cage. But yeah, my dogs don't seem to mind. They'll lay on the floor right beside the cage and just sit and watch the gliders. So it seems to be some entertainment for the dogs anyways.
Okay. Wow. Uh-oh. I still don't have any excuses yet. I'm gonna have to make something up to make an excuse. We got puppies who like to be paid attention to, but I didn't have that excuse. All right. And I wasn't.
Sean, you need to get one for me so I can vicariously have one through you.
Okay.
And then you can let me FaceTime with my pen pal.
Well, but I need to get more than one. I think that's the
Yes,
idea
that's what you
behind
said,
it.
but one of them is mine.
Now, how do you define the word Joey? What does that mean?
Okay, so I typically consider them a Joey up until they're about 6 months old.
Okay.
So it all depends on how you look at it. Joeys can reproduce starting at 12 weeks old. I know there are a lot of misconceptions that females can actually don't reach sexual maturity until they're between 8 and 12 months old, and males 12 to 15 months old. That is incorrect. At 12 weeks old, they can start reproducing, which is fairly young. I have noticed the younger the Joeys are when they start having babies, the more likely they are to either reject or cannibalize Joeys. So I like to wait until they're at least 6 months old. Right now, I have a pair who, let me see, they're 8 months old and they are expecting. They have 2 Joeys in pouch.
Okay.
But I mean, some people consider Joeys until they're up until a year.
Mm-hmm.
Some only consider them Joeys until they're a couple months old. So
now, how long do they live? I don't remember.
Between 12 and 15 years.
12 and 15 years. So just like a average dog or even longer. Okay. Not like a tortoise, which is 100 years or 75 years. But,
right.
But that one you have to pass on to your grandchildren that aren't even born yet. So, okay. So now they're nocturnal. That's correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, but they enjoy being taken around and during the day and held. What is that the way things are?
Most of them do. Some of them do not like to be woke up. Carmel, she obviously doesn't mind. I woke her up literally before I hopped on camera. Some of them just will curl right up with me and hang out like she is. Other ones will sit and crab and yell at me until I put them back. More again, it goes kind of back to the personality. I kind of like people.
Okay. What kind are the 2 Joeys that you have for sale right now?
Okay, so I technically have 4 Joeys right now. Everything has been updated on our website. So I have the 2 girls that I had available last time, which are the 2 that I also had at the Reptile show, Sean.
Okay.
And then I also have 2 brand new ones that are about 3.5, 4 weeks out of pouch now. One is a Cremino Mosaic. Little boy, he's so cute. He's a real light cream color with a very, very light stripe and just a tad bit of gray on his tail. The little girl is a black beauty, so she's really dark. But yeah, so I have 3 females and 1 male available right now. And like I said, I have 2 more Joeys in pouch.
Can you not put the male with the females in, or are we getting them fixed, or what's the story on that?
So I typically will. So I don't take my Joeys out of the cage until they're like 8 to 10 weeks old from mom and dad. I kind of watch to make sure they're eating on their own before I remove them. Make sure they're able to get around fairly well. I don't let my Joeys leave my facility until they're at least 10 weeks old. Okay. Some people will let them leave at 8 weeks. I have found some Joeys at 8 weeks old are still nursing off of mom, so I try not to do that. But if he's still here at 10 or 12 weeks old, I will keep him in a cage by himself unless somebody has a deposit down on him and is getting him neutered. And then he will have his neuter between 8 and 10 weeks.
Okay. Is that the common time to do that, or?
That's at 8 weeks is the earliest my vet will do it. So I typically schedule it for somewhere between 8 and 10 weeks if she has the openings. If she doesn't have the openings, then I hang on to the Joey until it's neutered and healed up before it goes home.
Okay.
But once he's neutered, then I can stick him with the girls. If he's not, then he'll hang out by himself until he goes home.
So these 4 availables are on your website somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your website?
SuggieBearCentral.com.
Okay. So just the same name as you use on
yes.
Okay. All right. Bill, what other questions you have for him? Other than that, you want me to buy a couple for you to live vicariously through me?
Well, maybe for just a general high level, what if a person is interested in a sugar glider, what should they be expected to expect out of a sugar glider as a pet? Context, we see you holding one, it's being gentle, loving, petting. That looks like a wonderful experience. Is that what having a sugar glider is? What should we expect if we are looking into sugar gliders?
Honestly, it depends on who you get them from. I try to socialize my Joeys, so when you get them home, you can feed them treats through the cage, no problem. So when you first take a Joey home, you need to leave it alone for 2 to 3 days, just to let it get accustomed to the new environment. Just the stress can be a bit much. After that, most of my Joeys you can at least pet. It's a stressful situation moving to a new house and, smelling all new things. So sometimes they won't let you take them out and hold them right away. Some people will come to my house and hold their Joey before they walk out the door. So it all depends. But like I said, I've had one Joey bite somebody and they brought it back, but the Joey had got out and she grabbed him. And he was scared. He got out the same night she got home. But nobody's ever said, oh my gosh, my Joey's bit me. I did just have somebody pick up 2 on Sunday. She took him home and was feeding him treats and touching him through the cage that same night. So there are some people you get Joeys from and they do bite, they do yell.
So what does this cage look like?
So my cages are they're decent size. So I do have one double critter nation. So it's about 5.5 foot tall, about 2 foot deep and about 3 foot wide. That's my biggest cage.
Is this a wire cage or is it
they're all galvanized metal.
Galvanized metal, okay.
Yeah. So she's falling asleep. That's my biggest cage though. I do have most of my cages are from Exotic Nutrition. About the only thing I buy there. I personally like the Brisbane cages. They're really good size for 2 gliders, and they're great for my breeding pairs who have Joeys.
What size are they? How many feet by what feet? Ballpark.
They're roughly like 20 by 26 by I think 36.
Okay.
So
3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Which is a standard size for roughly 2 gliders. And Joeys, they aren't in the cage for, real long. They're still pretty little when I do take them out at 10 weeks. So them couple of weeks that they're roaming around the cage with mom and dad isn't a huge deal. I do have some cage sizes that are in between there. I do have one that's probably about 18 by 18, but it is about 4 or 5 foot tall. So,
do they prefer height or what is their preference?
I've noticed most of my gliders like to jump from one side of the cage to the other. So I would say a wider cage is probably better, but they do. One of the gliders I had to show she's in the 5 foot tall cage and she will stay at the one top corner and jump all the way down to the bottom. It sounds terrible when she lands, but she loves to do it. She does it multiple times a night. Wow. So I would say I do have some gliders who don't like to glide through their cage. They just climb around. So in that case, it doesn't really matter if it's tall or wide.
So what else is in the cage? You've got the glider, you've got the cage. What else do you put in the cage with them?
Sleeping pouches, which I know I had shown last time. My breeding pairs, I only give them one because if there are more than one, they can actually accidentally leave the Joey in a sleeping pouch and it can get too cold, causing not so great things for the Joey.
Sure.
So they only have one sleeping spot. Like Carmela's cage, I think they have 4 different sleeping spots. And there's only 5 of them in the cage. I have toys. I have like fleece vines for them to climb on. We typically have kitchens is what we call them. So we put them over their plate because they can make kind of a mess when eating. It's like feeding a toddler. I think that's about it. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of different fleece items in there. anything from corners to tunnels to pouches to
So
vines.
what does the bottom of the cage look like? Is it plastic? Is it wire? What is it?
It is wire.
Wire.
They have like the pull out tray underneath the wire that we do keep equine pellets in, just to help some of the urine smell and collect that. So, yeah.
Is there a place you get like a show cage, like a place that you'd want to put in your living room, or are all the cages supposed to pretty much the same?
Amazon has, I know I have a lot of people looking for cheaper cages. Amazon has some cheaper cages, but you get what you pay for. I personally like the cages from Exotic Nutrition. They seem to be the best quality for your price.
Okay.
Now, the Double Critter Nation cages are nice, but they are pricey. Okay. They do rust easier, I have found, than the Exotic Nutrition cages do as well. And rust can cause UTIs in these guys, and UTIs can be very, very bad for these guys.
Sure.
Gliders are very good to hide their illness until it's too late.
Wow, that'd be sad. Okay. So what would you consider cheap cage? What would you consider an expensive cage? What is the numbers on that?
So I would say if you're just looking for, let's say, 2 gliders, just your standard 2, a Brisbane from Exotic Nutrition is a great cage. It's a little pricier. Trying to think. I think
it's
they're
on sale for $220, and that's a good price for a cage. Let's see. Wait. That is if you get the with the starter pack. The cage itself is $182.
And you do not want the starter pack.
Okay.
The food has been proven to kill gliders.
Wow.
A lot of their toys are not actually glider safe.
Another one of those chameleon kits.
So yeah, I only recommend some of the treats from Exotic Nutrition and their cages. I buy the dried fruit for treats, and the cages. That's all I buy from there. But their cages, their cages are my favorite. I think I've got 7 of the Brisbane cages. I've got 2 Madagascars and 1 of the Congos. So I've got a lot of cages.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your experience? This was your first show, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
So I'm shopping for the cage that you're going to get my glider.
Okay, we'll send it over to my house to pay for it then. If you're gonna get a glider, we need you to fund it.
Right. So,
I gotta take care, but you need to fund it.
Bill, the Borneo cage that is on that site is a newer cage, and it is similar to the Double Critter Nation cage. I don't have one yet, but I am hoping to get one sometime in the future. But I have heard good things about those. But Sean, the show. So yeah, it was interesting. It was very tiring. I was really surprised. But no, we went through a ton of business cards. I don't think we expected to be quite as popular as what we seemed. With it being our first show, we weren't really sure what to expect, but we were highly surprised at the interest. Even just learning more about gliders. So our next show, we're actually going to add in a few little flyers with some information, maybe even have like a little poster board type of stand with some information on it.
So when's your next show? Are you going to the Northeastern Ohio one, or are you going to a different one? Or okay.
Yeah, right now I've checked into a couple other shows, but they all seem to be full up. So right now we're just going to stick with the Northeast Ohio Reptile show. The next one is June, I want to say 11th. Yes, June 11th is the next one. But we will be doing that every other month when it runs. Until we're going to go check out the Cleveland Reptile show. Kind of get a feel for it, see if we can get in that one as well.
That one's kind of hard to get into. I've been part of that show, and I had a hard time getting into it. And everyone complains, except for when the there's one in Tinley, they'll have spots open because some of their vendors go to Tinley every couple of months. But but no, it's a great show. It's just it's harder to get into. It's a little bit bigger, a little different venue. It's more of a how should I put it? It's more of a it's the state fair or the county fairground area. It's not quite as nice as the other one. Although the Northeast Ohio one, I couldn't even find it because it's in the back of this whole building that's for storage, and they got this really beautiful facility in the back of it, like for weddings and things. And it was just really strange to see the difference in the area it was in, and the one in Medina, which is the Cleveland all Cleveland show, which is all connected to the All Ohio show, which is in Columbus, is a little different in the sense that it's easy to get to. You figure out where you're at, but it really looks like the area that it's supposed to be in. So it's kind of strange, but
yeah, it is. It's really kind of like off the road and hidden. I think we passed it up the first time we went to. So
yeah, my GPS couldn't find it, so it was weird, but I figured it out. But nonetheless,
yeah, we've also looked at doing the show out in Fremont, out near Toledo.
Yep, I've been to that one multiple times. Fremont's one that we go almost every month, but
okay, it's a bit of drive for us, so it would have to be like it would be a weekend thing. That's a lot of driving in one day. But yeah, right now we're doing the Northeast Ohio Reptile Show. We're crossing our fingers that in the next couple of months we can get into the Cleveland show.
Okay, the Fremont show is a great show as well. It'll be very much like the Northeast Ohio show, but it's still a different building. It's more of a it's actually at a college, so it's a college hall. It's it's I think their gym or whatever, or I don't know what the other use of the hall is when it's not a reptile show, but it's got an area for bathrooms. It's got a different vendors, and it's a little bit bigger.
Okay,
but it's well worth the trip. I don't know that it's really worth you going out that far if you can get into the Cleveland show, but the Cleveland show, like I said, is kind of a challenge to get into. So,
right.
But see, Bill, we're talking Ohio stuff here, and you're just out there in the far west, not in the normal area. You can't have sugar gliders. You can't have hedgehogs, sugar gliders. What was the other thing we were talking about last week? Ferrets
and tenrics.
That's what it was. We were talking about tenrics that you can't have. You can't have anything, man. Can you have a tegu?
I think we can have a tegu.
Okay, I'll send you one of those, and I'll get you 2 sugar gliders. Tegus can be pretty destructive. They're fairly large, although they're not as destructive as an iguana, and they're not as mean as an iguana. But can be.
Well, if they're more destructive than a dart frog, I think you've gone past my limit.
A dart frog. Is that inside the cage or outside? Because dart frogs, they can escape, I guess, but they wouldn't do any damage once they escape. So, anyways, okay.
Now,
all right, Crystal. What else do you want to tell us about sugar gliders?
I actually have a question.
About,
the sugar glider community. There are a number of exotic mammals. We've talked about ferrets, hedgehogs, sugar gliders, tenrics, and degus, and things like that. Prairie dogs. Are all of these communities separate communities, or is the mammal community integrated? I ask, how do I ask this question? Like in the reptile community, the ball python people are completely different than the chameleon people, who are completely different than the dart frog people. And yes, there are some people who have dual citizenship.
Have all of them. Yes,
have all of them. But as far as the educational material, I mean, it's like different countries in Europe. Is it the same way in the mammal community?
So the glider community is very particular, which I don't know. It's been very rough the past couple of months. Some people in the sugar glider world can be very opinionated about how they think gliders need to be taken care of or what they need to eat. Some people just kind of do their thing and keep to themselves. That's kind of me. I do what I need to do. I do my research. I talk to the people I need to talk to find out, the correct information. But then I just kind of hang to myself unless I have a question about something. But they can be very opinionated.
Is that a thou shall opinion, or is that based on some kind of facts or research?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just take some of the facts and really like drive them into people rather than, I don't know, like some people come and ask for help. They rescued a glider or whatever. They come asking for help, and some people will chew them inside out because they haven't done the correct research before they got them. Well, sometimes things happen and you get a glider in a situation and you help it, and you're asking for help now. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But some people don't like that they don't do their research. I'd rather you get the glider and ask me a million questions than to let something happen to the glider. So everybody's different, but the glider community can be a very rough community to be in.
Is this the community on Facebook or Instagram,
yes.
or just Facebook communities?
Right? Yeah, Facebook is really all I deal with. I'm trying to get away from it just because it has become a bit much. We're trying to stick more to our website. I do advertise a few things on our Facebook page. When we went to the Reptile show, I did advertise that on there. I post on there when I put new things on my website. But that's pretty much all I use my Facebook page for anymore. I try to refer everybody to the website just for that reason.
Any idea why the Northeast Ohio show is every other month as opposed to quarterly or every month? Okay.
I don't know. I do wish that it was every month. But it does give me time to catch up and make some more things for the show. So this next show, our table will be much fuller. I probably am not going to take Joey's to this next show just so I have the table space. But yeah, we're gonna have some new things at the next show, so it'll be exciting.
It's probably good that you don't have the Joeys there because people need to get prepared and ready. And when I got the hedgehog, from a group of people who actually got the entire enclosure, even the food, everything except for the water, the heat, the lights, everything, and it came all in one container. So I was able to go home and put it together. Actually, I came home, took a nap, and my daughter put it together. She's 16, so she's not 12 or 8, but she put it together and had it all set up before I woke up from my nap. So it was kind of like, that is nice. So
and we do have them there more so you can see them, so you get a feel. We would take a deposit on them. But unless you and I have already been talking, I do an extensive talk through for everybody who's adopting gliders from me. We typically talk for several weeks before you take your gliders home, if not longer. If you have Joeys you're getting from me, we'll talk for a solid 8 weeks before you come pick up your Joeys. So it's more of we do have application forms or glider adoption forms that you can fill out while you're there if you're interested in adopting. That way I have your information. I can email you, I can call you about different things. We also have contracts, which we do with all of our gliders that go home, that if somebody is picking up at the show, let's say, Sean, you decide to buy gliders and you want to pick up at our next show, I can bring them and you can pick them up while you're there. But I could have all the paperwork there with me. But I always make sure my adopters have all the supplies that they need, cage, wheel, toys, pouches. I make sure they have all of that before they take Joey's home.
That's great. That's awesome. All right. Any other questions, Bill?
No. Sounds great. I'm convinced that Sean needs to get me one.
1, 2. What are you talking about, Bill?
Well, you own the other one, but they've got to live together.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Mine's
so wait a minute though. If you come to here, would you want your one, or would you just come visit, or what would you do?
Come visit it. I wouldn't take it because I can't.
All right.
But I'd come visit.
All right. You're not moving to Cleveland at any point here?
Well, it depends on how much I fall in love with the little guy.
All right.
Bill, you come see me, I'll make you fall in love with one.
All right, there we go.
I'll take that.
How can you say no to this?
I don't think I can.
Is that one for sale though? I don't think Carmela's for sale.
No. So on our business cards, this is Carmela. She was my very first glider. She's actually the glider on our business cards. She's our little mascot, as everybody was calling her at the show. So, but no, she's mine. You can't have her.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Nope. Okay. Yeah, they are as wonderful as I have suspected that they would be.
All right. I'm just trying to make things hard on you, Bill. You know, I'm meeting people at shows and I'm bringing them on based on what you can't actually own in Florida.
Yeah, I appreciate you're getting me back.
I have a list of things I'm ticking off the you can't own these in California list. So
yeah, you're getting me back for all the things that I've brought onto my show that
I've tried to get and that I've actually gotten, and they're in my house right now. Exactly.
Got to get back to that built somehow.
It's yeah, exactly. So, all right, Crystal, any final thoughts?
I'd have to say the only other thing when searching for a glider, you would want to make sure your glider has lineage. Some people do what we call backyard breeding, and sometimes the gliders will be inbred without being known. Inbred gliders obviously have issues to inbreeding. They don't live as long. They have other either neurological or sometimes internal issue. So you definitely, if you're shopping for sugar gliders, you'll make sure you want to find a reputable breeder. There are some lists out there of reputable breeders. You know, if you're not in my area, I can get you in touch with somebody who is in your area. But we always have transport services as well to take gliders places.
So you ship them, or they're not shippable, or what's the?
So they're kind of shippable. So there are special transportation services that you would have to pay for, but they would come to my door and pick up the glider and anything going with it and take it right to the doorstep of their new owner. So sometimes it takes several days depending on their route to get to you, you know, from my door to your door. I have met people up to a couple hours away for a fee. Most of the people, honestly, just come to my house and pick them up. That way they can see them. I take them out, let them hold them. If they're a little cranky, I open up the pouch and let them see them. I have people come and look at more toys and pouches. We do have the starter kits now, which I'll be putting on our website this weekend, which our first time having those was at the show, at the Reptile show. So those seem to be a big hit. Lots of people complimented on those. So, yeah.
All right. That was, I think I extended the final thought with the question, but Bill, any final thoughts on sugar gliders other than I need to get some, one for you and one for me? I guess they'd have to be both for my daughter, my youngest child. But
she really loved them.
I know she did. She came and grabbed me and told me to come on over. I didn't even know you're at the show. She's like, I found sugar gliders. I'm like, didn't you watch the show? This is the person who's on the show. But apparently she wasn't watching that show or wasn't paying enough attention to that part of the show. But all right. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Have a good night. In a couple weeks, we're going to have a big relaunch or launch or I don't know, I guess grand opening. That's the right word. Grand opening is probably a better thing because you can open a store and then not have a grand opening for several weeks. I know we've been doing this for several months, almost a year, probably more than a year now, but with a few breaks in the middle. But nonetheless, thank you for being here, Crystal. Thanks once again, Bill. Everybody have a good night.